Hello, everyone. I'm Chanel Miskey. Welcome to my Psych Talk presentation, Memory in Pregnancy and Postpartum, a Deep Dive. I'm doing my talk on an article that I felt personally connected to. It's about memory during pregnancy and the postpartum period. The article, which was published in the Scandinavian Journal of Psychology in 2016, is titled Memory in Pregnancy and Postpartum, Item-Specific and Relational Encoding Processes in Recall and Recognition. The authors are Spataro, Zarauli, Oriolo, Costanzi, Zanetti, Sestari, and Rossi Arnaud. Whether you're a parent, know someone who is, or you're just curious about how our brains change during major life events, I think that you too will find this article very interesting. So let's jump in. So, what does this article explore? In essence, do pregnant and postpartum women remember information differently? And specifically, how do they encode it? Are they better at remembering specific details, or are they better at remembering how things connect to one another? The authors look at item specific processing, which is when we recall each word uniquely, versus relational processing, which is when we group things together into categories. They use two memory tests, free recall and recognition, to assess these women's performances. So, what did the researchers do? This was a cross sectional study with 61 adult women grouped into pregnant, postpartum, and non pregnant control group. Each woman completed one of two encoding tasks. They were either rating how pleasant a word was or they were naming its category. Following encoding, the participants first completed a free recall test where they wrote down words that they remembered without prompts, which taps into their relational memory. Then they completed the recognition test where they decided if they where they had to decide if they were seeing words that they had previously been shown, which leans on item-specific encoding. This setup directly tests how memory encoding strategies are used across groups. So the results were pretty interesting and supported their hypothesis that, as expected, pregnant women struggled more with relational encoding, meaning that they had more trouble with the free recall task. The pregnant women also did not do as well with the item-specific encoding. And while the postpartum participants fared better than the pregnant participants, especially in relational encoding, they did not quite reach the control group levels. This indicated that pregnancy may temporarily impair both encoding strategies. Now, the strengths. There are definitely some strong points in this article. I like how they explicitly manipulated encoding strategies to give us a clean insight into how memory is processed. The topic is important and relevant, the study design is clear, and they connected their results back to previous research in the field. I also liked that they looked at two different types of memory for the study. And for the weaknesses, there were definitely some drawbacks to this study. With around 20 participants per group, it's hard to generalize broadly. Also, because the design was cross-sectional, we can't track memory changes over time within the same individuals. Also, variables like sleep, emotional state, and hormone changes weren't measured, all of which can hugely impact memory, especially for new moms. And effect sizes weren't reported, making it hard to judge the relevance of the findings. All right. There were a few notable omissions. I wanted to see the longitudinal follow-up over pregnancy into postpartum. I think that more real-world memory tasks would make the findings more meaningful, like a to-do list or making doctor's appointments, going to the doctor's appointments. Um, Also, knowing the participants' trimester or postpartum stages would add some more clarity to the study. So, what can we take away from this article? First, the idea of mom brain has some actual scientific grounding, not as a failure, but as a shift in memory processing. Pregnancy seems to temporarily impair both item specific and relational encoding. There's a strong need for follow up research, especially using real life tasks, a longitudinal study design, and a more diverse population. Our cognitive health as moms matters, and it deserves all the same research and support as our physical health. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something and that you've gained some new insights into the world of pregnancy and postpartum cognitive health. And if you have any questions or thoughts, please leave a comment. Thank you. Bye.